went to North Korea, finally got in. Took me a long time, had to go under a second identity, had to pay a huge bribe. I was there, I got there. And I thought, I know what I'm not going to say about North Korea. I'm not going to say it. That school children are marched to school carrying pictures of the dear leader and the great leader. The loudspeakers speak of nothing but the great leader and the dear leader. At workplaces, there are sessions set apart every day for cries of hatred against the United States and the West and South Korea. I'm still not going to do it. They won't make me say 1984. They just won't make me do it. But eventually they make you do it. You have to, your mind just adjusts to it. The North Korean state was founded in 1950, 51. That's the year 1984 was published for the first time. You think, could it be that someone handed a Korean translation of this to Kim Il-sung and said, do you think we could make this fly? And he said, page through, said, I don't know, but we could sure give it the old college try, because that's what it looks as if they did. There is no private life for a North Korean. There isn't a moment when you are not either on parade or when you're not on parade told to stay indoors. You're not wanted, stay at home, you're under curfew. Lights are out in Pyongyang, and that's the capital city, at 8:30. Can't go out after that, stay in. There's nothing to watch, there's nothing to see. All television programs, when it's working, are all about the dear leader, as are all operas, all films, all concert performances, and all public lectures. There's nothing else to talk about. The life of the human being, this is what I failed to convey in my article, is completely pointless. There's the concept of liberty or humor or irony or happiness or love doesn't exist. You are there simply as a prop for the state. And though it used to be, as with any slave system, that they would feed you in return for your services, that compact broke down a couple of decades ago. Now they don't feed you either. They barely clothe you. At Panmunjom, the so-called demilitarized zone, you've seen the word demilitarized zone, haven't you, in the press, even quite recently. Why do they call it demilitarized zone? Words lose their meaning so fast. It's the most militarized zone on the planet. There are nuclear mines sown in that DMZ. There's a concentration of force and violence on either side of it that is unequaled anywhere. It's the most militarized zone in the world. That's the only place where North Korean and South Korean soldiers meet directly, face to face, staring at each other across the table. They change guard about 5 or 6 times a day. The North Koreans naturally put up their best soldiers to stand there, to put the best, bravest, toughest face on North Korea. The best ones they can find are 6 inches shorter than the South Korean ones now. That's what a famine state is, on top of a slave state. We now have millions and millions of North Korean children totally stunted in mind and body, who will have to be dealt with at some point, who have been raised to believe that they live in a regime that is run by a god. And I must just indicate, I was going to do this later, but I'll say it now. There's a thing that it took me ages to notice about reading George Orwell's 1984. I wrote a book about it. I've written many articles about it. It took me a long time to notice something that's so obvious that it's crying to be said. In 1984, it's assumed there's no more religion. There's no church in 1984, not even a tame state church. There's nothing. No one mentions the idea of faith, except in Big Brother. Quite interesting. It's as if it's an entirely secular dictatorship. In North Korea, you might think that was the case, since it has an officially communistic ideology, but it's not. It's the most religious state it's possible to imagine. It's actually two people who have been fused into one. Maybe this is reminding you of something. There's the Father, and there's the Son. It's one short of a trinity. Another way of phrasing it is this. When the president, our president, writes to Kim Jong-il, the son, the dear leader, he doesn't call him dear Mr. President. He calls him dear Mr. Secretary. You ever noticed that? Why is that? Because he's not the president of North Korea. He's the head of the Communist Party, the North Korean Workers' Party, and he's the head of the army. He's not head of the state. The head of the state is his father, who's been dead for 15 years. So it's a necrocracy, if you like. Or a mausolocracy, or a thanatocracy, in which the one has been fused into being with the other, and where both of them are said to have had miraculous births, attended by miraculous phenomena, such as, for example, birds singing in Korean when they were born. So that this is possibly the most theocratic country I've ever seen, or that there has ever been, where the only duty of the citizen, starving and stunted and enslaved, as he or she may be, is the worship of the leader and of the leader's father. I did not see this happen, but a friend of mine swears to it, getting tired of, you can't go to the opera, you can't go to the TV, you can't go, no movies, nothing, except long live the dear leader. He went to the zoo just to have a walk around the park. And there were some animals, rather morose, half-starved animals, but there they were. And he got to the parrot section, and there was a big parrot looked at him in a sort of beady way. And he looked at the parrot in a rather morose manner. And after a short interval, the parrot opened its beak and said, "Long live the dear leader, Kim Il-sung." The only comment it felt able to make. I don't know, but I tell you what. I didn't see it, I can't swear to it, but I don't disbelieve it.